What's up guys, and welcome back to another EVE Online video. Today we are looking at a bit of ratting in C4 wormholes again. In the past I have done a video with Rattlesnake where we could earn 250 million an hour, of multi-box nesters in a video in C4, but today we're going to turn on easy mode. EVE Online gets easy and we're going to start farming in a Golem. Now, of course, I say it's easy mode because if you've got the skills and you've got the ship and everything, it is easy, and the return is very, very high. But of course, it's a expensive and high risk ship to run, especially in J space. The way to mitigate that risk, because I will only fly it because it's expensive, which I'll touch on in a minute. I'll only fly it if the risk is mitigated in PvE, and the way to do that in wormhole space is to roll up the wormhole you're in. So the wormhole we live in, of course, we can close that down, we can roll the two statics, roll anything that's connected, and then it's locked, and you're then like completely safe until the new SIG spawns, which is outstanding. Then it really is EVE on easy mode. Or you can jump into the static, which is what I tend to do. I farm our C4 static, and we roll up the connections and just have the connection into our home hole. Or I have my fleet on. I think it's blurred because you can't see the numbers, but you know, I've got 29 friends online in system with me, so last night I used it as a bait, which might seem a bit risky, but I was confident in our ability. So, quick mention of the skin. This is a Golem. We've got the Malakin Marshlight, which was given away during the Crimson Harvest, I think, or possibly during the stream skin during the Crimson Harvest. I've also got Union Day Workers, but Malakin Marshlight for the pumpkin face, which is there. Yeah. Cool. And so the fit for this is specifically for running C4s. The nice thing about the Golem PvE fit is it's quite similar for the C4 and the C5, except for the weapon system primarily. There are a couple changes. I will go into the C5 fit in a different video because the money you can earn doing that is insane. But the fit for this is linked in the description, and of course we'll go through it now to explain what the thinking is. Honestly, this is overkill for C4. The tank is overkill, but it's nice to have all this tank in case you do get dropped on and get a little bit of survivability going until the cavalry arrive. But cruise missiles, which you might have seen several Golem fits, and there'd be torpedoes. For running C5s you go torpedoes, but for C4s we go cruise missiles because of the range of everything spawns at. So even with our maximum DPS with the Furies loaded, we have a flight range of 167 kilometers, so everything is in range, no problem. And we can target out to 154, so we're all good there. So you land in sight, Bastion, and you can just start shooting everyone. I have a medium Nosferatu in the high. That's legacy from C5 fit. I actually don't use that in C4. And then we have two Imperial Navy EMP smart bombs. You go faction for the increased area of effect radius. It's definitely worth it. I wouldn't go non-faction. You've got to go Imperial Navy for that range because the frigates orbit at between 5 and 7.5k, so you need to have that. Then there's also in the mids, we go Target Painter. I've got Republic Fleet to increase the chance of being able to hit some of the smaller stuff, and we'll touch on why that's important when we're running a Frontier Command Post in a minute. And then we've got Cap Recharger 2, Imperial Navy Cap Recharger, and a Republic Fleet Large Cap Battery ×2, because we want to be very cap stable when we're running this. If I go simulate, if we've got everything turned on, it's not cap stable, but if I turn off the NOS, it's still not cap stable actually. So I have to turn off the bombs, and then it's very much cap stable. But they use a lot of cap, so you don't want to be running them the whole time, but you can run everything else and be stable. And then to finish off the mids, we've got a Pitham C-type multi-spec, which is expensive, but again it's legacy from the C5, and a Pith X-type extra large shield booster. So the shield boosting is ridiculous. Lows, I've got two actually, Caldari Navy ballistic control systems and one Tech 2. And an additional capacitor flux coil down here. You could possibly swap this out for a, are they called guidance computers? Or tracking enhancer? Whatever the other low slot is that improves your missile's ability to hit. But it's a bit unnecessary if you've got everything else. So I keep the capacitor flux coil in. And then it's capacitor in the rigs, capacitor control circuit too, because it's all about keeping that cap running. So the DPS on this is high. Even with cruise missiles, we're at 1800 DPS, which is very nice. And we have that threw me off. Sorry. Oh yeah, and then I was going to go into the shield boosting. So active defenses at 850 HP a second, which is obviously really nice. That's not EHP, because the resists are nice and high as well, but 850 HP a second, because that pumps out 3,400 per cycle, which is really nice, of course. I do have implants in to do this, so these numbers are slightly topped up because I've got a set of mid-grades in right now, mid-grade crystals, which increases the shield boost amount. Unnecessary for C4, but because I've got it for my C5 runner, I have them in. Again, if I get dropped on, it increases my survivability quite considerably. And then I've got the Zainu Deadeye Guided Missile Precision, 3%, which helps with, I think it's explosion radius on the missiles. Target navigation prediction, 3%. Which again is damage application, and then rapid launch 3%, which is rate of fire, so increases your overall DPS. These help quite a lot in the C4 because you're trying to hit some cruisers at range, and it makes quite a big difference having these 3% in. So one just to think about, and same actually with the weapon system. Of course, use the Furies for the battleships you face. But you also carry a set of Caldari Navies or Precisions to take out the frigates. I prefer Caldari Navy because whilst they have the same damage application, the DPS is higher on the navies. It's just the range is higher on the Precisions, I believe. Let's have a quick look. Let's find out. Okay, so that's to 139. So actually, maybe damage application is higher. I may have got that completely wrong. I wasn't actually looking at cruise missiles when I was looking at that. I was looking at javelins versus the Caldari navies. So maybe Precisions do have much better damage application. We can just have a quick check while we're here. Explosion velocity 160, explosion radius 216, and on the factions there's 160 and 216. We've got the precisions are a lot higher, 68 instead of 160 and 216 instead of 330. So definitely go javelins. Not javelins, wrong missiles. Definitely go precision to take out the cruisers. That's what we'll do now. I'm going to undock, going to jump into a site, and we'll go through this and see how we get on, and we'll time how quickly we can get through a couple of sites. See you in a sec. One thing just to note, guys, before we get into that, we're going to do a skin giveaway. I've got a backlog of a whole bunch of partner skins to give away, so make sure you get entered. We've got, you know, Buzzard. I think we've got Phantasm. There's obviously Stratios. There's a whole bunch of them we can give away. I've got a few in here, but what do we got? Vedmak, Leshak, Tempest, Hecate, Varga. So get involved, like, comment, make sure you're subscribed, comment with your in-game name, and you'll enter the giveaway. And you can take your pick of any of the skins. Just drop me when you win. I'll send you a list of the skins you can choose from, any one, and we will do that. So make sure you're involved, subscribed, like to the video, and drop a comment with your in-game name and whether or not you would run a 3.3 billion ISK Golem with a 1 billion pod in wormhole space. Now let's run a site. Okay, so we're starting with the frontier barracks, warping in as we go. You'll see some stuff on D-scan because, as I mentioned, we've rolled up our wormhole, and we've just got I've got some fleet mates out mining some ore at the moment, so I'm free to do this. And as described, this is as safe as you can possibly be, pretty much in Eve, because we've completely rolled the wormhole. It is closed, so I am on Eve on easy mode. So we land, turn on Bastion, turn on our resists and our rep, lock up the upholder because the preserver is the trigger, and start shooting it. I've got my Furies loaded for the moment, but we will swap ammo as we go. I'm going to drop my MTU and bookmark it, MTU, to pull stuff in. I do have a pack rat, just because it pulls stuff in faster, and this ship does kill everything pretty quick. Doesn't matter what damage type you deal particularly, they're just omni-tanked. All the rats are omni-tanked. Sometimes there is one of them can be 10% higher, but we'll see. Preserver is the trigger. If you want to learn the triggers and everything, you can go to, there's plenty of resources. You can go to Eve University's wiki, which I'll link below, or you can, there's like, I can't remember what it's called. It's like Cars Modified Nolax Ricky's Guide to Wormholes. That's also got all the information in there. That's a really good one, but I can't actually remember the name of it right now. But you have these two battleships to start with. You can see we're not really being scratched at all. We'll take these two down, and then we've got wave 2. What time do we start, by the way? It's now 20. It's now 22:20. That's going to be blurred for you, but it's 22:20, and let's say conservatively we started at 22:18. So I'm going to reload to the precision and lock up the cruisers first. Why am I doing that? The cruisers are preservers, which means they remote rep the other ships on grid. So I take them out first, because I'm not worried about the nuke pressure, because we've got so much cap resistance built in. So hopefully we can get rid of these nice and quick. And then there we go, that should be enough. And then we can swap back to Furies for the battleships. You do have to be aware of the nuke pressure, but we've got so much cap resistance that it doesn't matter. The other thing I will point out while I'm here is, of course, I am in a pulsar, so I think it is worth mentioning that. I am in a pulsar, which means it is bonused to shields and capacitor actually, but that doesn't matter. You don't need any of this to run C4 sites, not at all. What I would say is do pay attention to the weather in the wormhole you're going to do this in, because I wouldn't take my Golem into a Wolf Riot, which is bonus to armor. I think it would still be able to run the sites, but you'd be so much more exposed to gankers and things, so much more at risk. So yeah, now we're just clearing these. You can see it all goes nice and quickly. The Golem is very fast. That should be enough damage, and I'll move on to the next one. Go. And we've almost finished 2 waves. There are only 3 waves. And this site is worth 86.4 million. And so, keep an eye on how quickly you do it. After this, I'm also going to record running a Frontier command post, which is worth 92 million. Ordinarily, they're worse to run than a barracks because they have some sentry towers which drop no loot. But we've got so much tank in this that we just completely ignore them. And so actually the ISK per HP is quite high, which I think is just worth showing. You might wonder, again, I know I said this during the fitting, but in the next wave we get some frigates. You might wonder how we deal with frigates with cruise missiles. We do have some drones, but that's where the smart bombs really come in. You have to be a little bit careful with your smart bombs. I choose to do not fire my missiles whilst dealing with the bombs. Reloading back to precision, because in this wave, again, cruiser preservers first. But you'll notice in this wave we've got 4 cruiser preservers and 2 battleship preservers. These all remote rep each other, and so you need really good damage application and really good DPS to break that. And now that's where the precision missiles and the implants I've got come in, because they help tremendously with the damage application. But you'll see the rep come through. We need to be having these 2000 volleys. If we don't hit 2000s and we hit 700-800s, that's no good. We need to break the rep. But we do that nicely with all these things that we've just discussed. That should be gone on that volley. I may have done that too early. I have. Let's fire one more, because we only hit for 1,000. The frigates do disrupt. So if you think, I ignore them for now. But if you think you're at risk of being killed, you can just activate your smart bombs and obliterate them, and then warp off, and you're okay. Do bear in mind, when you're in Bastion you can't move, and your Bastion lasts for 60 seconds these days, so you are fully exposed for 60 seconds. That's definitely important. It used to be 30 seconds when Marauders was so OP, so that is a slight nerf, but it's still not a massive one, I'll be honest. Okay, I'll just quickly go back to what I was saying about smart bombs. Smart bombs destroy everything in the area, not including wrecks, but it does damage your MTU. So just one thing to bear in mind: you will be killing your own MTU while you're smart bombing, and also your own missiles. So if you've got it timed badly and the smart bombs cycle as your missiles launch, you'll just destroy your own missiles and not have a volley go out successfully at that point, which is obviously very annoying. So that's why I tend not to cycle my smart bombs at the same time as my missiles. There's really not much time saved by doing so, because these die so fast. I loaded the wrong ammo, by the way, but it shouldn't matter. The Caldari navies do still apply well. Let's go to Furies for these 2. And we're nearly finished. We've been in sight now, we said 18, right? So we've been in sight for 8 minutes so far. And we've got 2 battleships, which will rep each other, to go, and then a couple frigs. And it's 86 million for completing this site in blue loot. That doesn't include the salvage, which can be up to around 10 million. But this is what I mean by Eve on easy mode. I've not had to do anything. I've not once been at any risk with my tank, nor with my cap. All I'm doing is swapping my ammo and firing. That's it. Eve on easy mode. We do actually have one. I am having to descan because we do have, my guys just told me they opened one wormhole, which I said they could do, because I don't want to be the reason no one can go out and do anything. So we do have one hole open, which I just need to be conscious of, which is why you see me descanning. but they're out in some stuff, and will be available to reship if anything happens. So it's all nice and fun and safe. But as mentioned, that's 9 minutes. We're going to be at maybe 11 minutes by the time we finish this, and 86 million in 11 minutes is going to be pretty high ISK per hour. But I am going to drop then straight into the Frontier Command Post on this recording, and yeah, we'll see how we do. Actually, I've oversold it slightly. Obviously I've got the time on the recording, and we haven't yet hit 10 minutes, so this site is only going to have taken 10 minutes when we get there. I overestimated 28 a tiny bit. Hopefully my final couple of volleys can finish off that. It can, that's good. So now I'm going to de-bastion. So I've only got 20 seconds left on that. Turn on my smart bombs, and you can see how quickly we work through these. But just to, I'll lock up my pack rat just so that you can see we do damage it, just slowly. And they're gone, and the site is finished. Scoop. Bastion decycled. Reload Scourge. We've got our M2 bookmarked. I didn't actually mean to pick that back up, so I got a bit carried away, so I'm going to let that drop back in. And I will pick this up as it's here. So that can carry on pulling in Rex, and we are going to go to a Frontier Command Post and do the same again. Frontier Command Posts are quite different, so we'll see that now. But that took, I've now been recording 11 minutes, so we're warping out of the site 11 minutes later. Well, I mean, the MTU is going to pull things in a bit too slow, but we can then have a look at how quickly we've done these two sites. Let's see if we do this one as fast as 11 minutes. I will see. So we've landed at 11:30. Much different site this time. So once again, we'll just drop, land, drop bastion, turn on resists, and then I'm just going to wait, because there's only frigates, and I do not care about the Argoses. There's not enough incoming DPS for them to worry me at all. So I'm now just waiting for the frigates to get in smart bomb range. In this site, the emergent preservers are the trigger, which is important to bear in mind, but doesn't really matter for the Golem. The preservers will get to you first, and they die a lot faster than the defenders. So what I do is I let them come in, I chill for a minute, let the preservers get nice and close, carry on chilling until the defenders get closer, and then start taking them out, because as mentioned, I don't want to fire my missiles when I've got my smart bombs running. So I'm going to lock up the defenders because they died last. Preservers are already here. I could start killing them now. Wait for the last defenders to come in and start cycling smart bombs, and you'll see the preservers will drop quite quickly and we'll get a new wave, while the defenders do take a minute to die. And our range is only 7.5k as mentioned, but if you don't go faction, you've only got 6k range, which means these guys don't really come into range. The preservers do, defenders don't, so you need to bear that in mind, because you need your smart bombs to kill them really. So second wave, the cruisers, the awakened defenders, are the trigger. So I take out the sleepless defenders first, the battleships, but I am just going to wait while I finish off the emergent defender frigates with my smart bombs, because I can't be bothered to kill my own missiles. Shouldn't be long now. This one might survive 2 more cycles. Nope. So turn them off, turn these on, and let's take out the defenders. Just 65s across the board again, so nothing specific, deal any damage you want. Now I'm going to drop my MTU. You'll notice I didn't drop it in that first wave because I had to cycle my smart bombs a lot. So dropping my MTU. We'll bookmark that so I can come back and salvage later, or and come back and get my loot later. And just start killing these things. I'm going to lock up these guys as well. Sometimes, like, all these ships do travel quite quickly, and even the battleships don't have a large signature radius. So when they're moving at speed, so you know they're doing 700 meters per second, but they were doing more to close the gap. You do sometimes miss with Furies. Well, not miss, but like, you know, I should be doing 2843 volleys, as you can see coming through every now and again here. That's because it was Hull. But sometimes you'll see just like 700 instead. That's because it's not applied correctly. But one of them's gone. Now we'll kill the other one. And we've been in this site now for 3.5 minutes. And again, the frigate this time. The nice thing with sleeper rats is you know what they do from their name. So as mentioned, the preservers, for example, they remote rep. And they can come in all forms. So you can have emergent preservers, which are the frigate versions, awakened preservers, which are the cruiser version, and sleepless preserver, which is the battleship version. You get upholders, who newt, one of each flavour again, and you have defenders, who basically they've got a pretty monstrous tank. They just take a long time to kill. And their DPS is slightly higher. Not much, but slightly higher. But they don't have any E-War. So apart from just taking a long time to kill, which all of these will, they're pretty easy. They're the flavours available to you in a C4 site. There are different in other classes of wormhole. You know, you may come across keepers in higher class wormholes, which are very difficult to kill. Safeguards who have web, newt, scram, or disrupt maybe. So all to bear in mind. But in these two C4 sites, it's just the defender, the upholder, and the preserver. So we killed those battleships. So absolutely no risk to our tank again. I've gone for precision for the cruisers again. But we'll see. I might test it. So that was a 1500. Let's see if they're all. So 1580, 1580. And so on the next one, maybe not the next one, but when we run out of missiles, I'll reload to Fury, and we'll just see whether we do more or less damage than 1580 per volley. One done. As mentioned, the defenders are the trigger here, but I'm going to trigger the next wave with the emergent upholders on grid, because I can then just ignore them while I deal with everything else, and then smart bomb them at the end. And you can just completely ignore the sentries. They're worth no they drop no blue loot. They're worth no bounty. You can't salvage them. All they do is offer DPS and are a nightmare to kill. So just ignore them. Wonderful, run out of missiles. I'm going to reload on this one because I want to be back on what are they called? Precisions for the first rats in the next wave. So let's okay. So it was 1580 we were doing, right? And that was only 883, 883, 883. So just because of the damage application, you have double the damage output. So your DPS will look a lot lower if you're running precisions, 1200 instead of 1800. But the damage application means you do double the damage to the cruiser-sized vessels, which is insane. But we've now been in this site for 7.5 minutes. So it probably is going to be slower than the barracks, because the next wave isn't super fast either. But it is worth 6 million more. So, oh yeah, so this site is worth 92.5 million. So barracks, 86.4. Command post 92.5, I think. But it's so easy. I do want to repeat. I'm not trying to like obviously belittle the risk and difficulty of putting this much ISK on grid. As I mentioned, ship and pod, we're well over 4 billion. But if you're in a position to roll up wormholes and make them safe for ratting, then it's just insane how easy the whole thing becomes. And you need skills. Like, don't get me wrong, I have very strong cruise missile skills. I'm only missing cruise missile specialization 5. I'm up to 4 in there. I think all the rest of my missile skills are 5. My shield skills are all maxed. So I have very strong skills, but you can see how strong this whole thing is without worrying about it. I carry a blue pill with me, but that's only again if I get dropped on. The blue pill might just again give me the survivability needed to wait for the cavalry to arrive. Oh, by the way, so there were 2 awakened preservers at the start of this third wave. They actually, the site despawns once you've killed them. So you'll see we're currently in SGX. Once I kill this one, that will disappear, which is really nice. That's a bit frustrating that it didn't kill that, because it's being repped by the battleships. But yeah, this will despawn, so then someone has to combat probe you while you finish off the rest of the site. Which is why I always go for them first. There's 2 reasons. One, they remote rep, so if you're trying to kill the battleships, it'll be getting repped by the other battleships and the cruisers, so you might as well get rid of the cruisers first. But also, site despawns, so then you're suddenly quite a lot safer because you need to be combat probed. But you can see the reps, like, you know, it's hard work to kill them. Okay, now back to Furies. You might wonder why I don't do the defenders first and I reload, but again, it's the rep coming from the battleships. Kill them. We are approaching 11 minutes now, so this is going to be a longer site for sure. We're at 10:45. By the way, if anyone hasn't seen Marauders in action and things, you can tell when a ship is in Bastion by what it looks like. So I've just turned Bastion off and it's all closed up, although it's difficult to see with the light show, but all this stuff closes up. If I enter Bastion again, you see the things open up. So you can see, if you come across a Marauder and you're trying to decide whether or not what it's doing, whether you can kill it, you can see whether it's in Bastion from the way the ship looks, providing you have your graphics high enough. Obviously I can't show you what that looks like for the other Marauders, but this is what a Golem looks like. This stuff is open. And that's really all there is to it. So while we just finish these last ships off, I want to just repeat the giveaway. You can have any one of the skins of your choosing from the collection of partner skins I've got stocked up, of which there are a lot. As mentioned, I think there was Hecate, Asteros, Stratios, Phantasm, Varga, Tempest, and so Leshak, Vedmak. There's loads now. So take your pick. Why are you not firing? And all you need to do is make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, and drop a comment with your in-game name telling me whether or not you would risk a 4 billion ISK marauder in J-space if you had the opportunity. Yeah, that's all there is really. That's what you got to do. There will be 5 winners, so plenty of opportunity to get involved and make sure you enter the draw. We're not just going to do the one. My corporation are aware I'm recording, so the chat going on in here at the moment is about landing on me on grid just to mess up the recording, which is obviously nice of them. They're talking about getting a busher now to take me out of sight and things. Would be funny. But that's the sort of thing, like, you know, because we've got our hole kind of closed, you can just muck about and enjoy yourselves. So yeah, get a busher and a bubbler is written in the chat at the moment. So I guess that's no exhaust suggesting they do that. So if no exhaust enters the giveaway, he might not win. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, that's it. So we'll just finish the site as quick as we can, so I can give you an accurate indication of how quickly this happens. It is good to learn that the Frontier Command Post does take a fair bit longer than the barracks, so the ISK per hour is still higher with the barracks, which means, let's do it, it's 86,400,000, I believe. And it took us 11 minutes. If we assume warp time, let's conservatively say 12 minutes, so you can do 5 of them in an hour. 432 million per hour, no problem at all. Not to be sniffed at. 432 and we've not been worried about incoming damage at all. If you don't have a wormhole and you want to do this yourself by day tripping, of course you still can. Be aware of D-scan and be ready to decycle your bastion and get out as soon as you see anything happening. There's nothing stopping you doing that, and actually, you know, if you've got the ISK and you're willing to take the risk, why not? Like I do sometimes. I jump over a couple holes and we'll rat without rolling it up. And it's still great. It's still great money. But to pay the ship off, you'll need to run it for 10 hours. If you're earning 432 million an hour, ship and pod is 4 billion. You need to run for 10 hours of C4s to pull that back in. If you're interested, I will be at some stage doing a C5 video. Hopefully really soon, because I'm really keen to get that one done. The money you can make with a Golem solo in a C5 is madness. It's closer to 1 billion an hour. I think I can achieve, I'm not the most efficient, I think I get up to around 750 million an hour. So, you know, you can do things very well in there. So we're going to finish the upholders now. Why are you getting repped? So the upholders do have a small amount of remote rep. It's nothing compared to the preservers, but it is worth mentioning they do have a small amount. So we'll hopefully kill them any second, and we ignore these, and when you warp out and just leave sentries on grid, after a couple of minutes they despawn. So then you can come back in your salvager and salvage everything. Alright, this last one should go in this final cycle. I'll decycle my bastion, and it is gone. Site finished. I'll keep this on while we decycle bastion, and that's it. So there you go, guys. You can do somewhere close to 432, 450 if you're really efficient, million per hour, running a Golem in C4 sites, and it's so easy. This is really is EVE Online on easy mode if you're willing to risk the ISK. So enter the giveaway. If you enjoyed the video, just like and subscribe anyway, please, and make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see when my C5 stop cycling them, otherwise I will kill my MTU. So you can see when my C5 ratting video comes out, I'm going to be doing another one coming up soon to do with mining, and there will be a bunch more. I've got plans. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.